Hey, welcome back to another edition of Everything Football 62. I'm your host, Jonathan Big Tex Johnson, a.k.a. Uncle Tex, a.k.a. Professor Tex. Before we get started, smash that like button, subscribe to the page, share. Any comments, requests, anything like that, let me know down below. I'm going to try to run through these games real quick and whatnot. I'm going to start with some of the Thanksgiving games. I do these recaps, man, just to kind of keep me sharp, just give a little, because you watch it. I basically had a football overload this past weekend after being off 4 days and watch football from college and stuff. So it's an overload of so much football that you can't remember and you try to remember. So it was a major overload and whatnot. But I just do these things just to kind of keep up that. I do be checking these games out, check out a lot of highlights and whatnot to try to, go back with some of this stuff. Buffalo and Detroit, Buffalo 28-25. Look here, man. Buffalo was supposed to run away with everything. And they're still good ball club. I guess somewhat still favored for the Super Bowl. I don't get caught up in all that stuff. When all that playoff stuff, this ain't college. Power rank, the stuff it's ridiculous. Buffalo is going through some injury problems right now, and they got lucky. Old Josh Allen pulled a quote unquote Pat Mahomes to get them out of that to go against a real a Detroit team that now is competitive. That might actually be a problem for the rest of the season and going into the next season and whatnot. I like to go back and forth with about this because it's been a little bit, but at the same time, like I said, he did a heroic thing that Josh Allen did. And I said this about Josh Allen's game. A lot of it is panic quarterback. He's in a rush. He's trying to hurry up and do things because he knows what's on the line and whatnot. So, but that can also hurt you at the same time. But Buffalo still is still the team to beat and dealing with the AFC in the AFC East. Was Dallas and New York? Good showing for Zeke and whatnot. Good showing for the Cowboys. They could have put 38 points on them. Dallas had over, I want to say 11 penalties or something to that effect. Very sloppy. The game shouldn't have even been as close as what it has been and whatnot. They did what they were supposed to do, but they need to clean up the not discipline on both sides of the ball. Too many penalties. Way too many penalties. Minnesota and like I said, it was 28-20 Dallas. Go down to Minnesota, New England, 33-26. This game was kind of a fun game to watch, kind of a back and forth and whatnot. For a while, Minnesota wasn't even touching Mac Jones and whatnot. Then all of a sudden, when it all counts, they put the rush on him and whatnot, and basically somewhat saved the game. We go into the stats here, my boy Kirk Cousins. Again, this is one of those games. 30 for 37, 299, 3 touchdowns. He had his one pick. He gonna do that for you and whatnot. And this is what we're talking about. Justin Jefferson does his thing and whatnot after that pathetic showing that they had against my Cowboys and whatnot. When everything was flowing. This was a shootout. See, you want a shootout, you might call Kirk Cousins to the party. But when that shit get a little, that's when he has to do this, that, and the other. But if it's just up and down the field and they're scoring, ain't nobody stopping each other, oh yeah, he looks like an elite quarterback until it's got to come back or it's getting close and he has to make a play to keep the thing going, to keep the momentum going and to try to win the game and whatnot and all that. Here we have Cleveland and Tampa Bay. Cleveland and Tampa Bay is 23-17. We go down and look this real quick. Jacoby Brissett, a good game, decent somewhat game, on 210, 23-37, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Nick Chubb, again, the workhorse, he kind of getting back into the groove of things and whatnot, and they basically won that game. Brady does what Brady does and whatnot and everything like that. But again, it's a lot of injuries with Tampa Bay, but I'm not making no excuses for Tampa Bay at all. I don't make no excuses for any of these teams. All these teams are grown men. They play this game, and they prepare. Some prepare better than others. Some have better coaching than others. But at the same time, again, it is what it is. It's like no big deal. You got to still come out there and play. So Tampa's going through that thing. I don't think Tampa, they still might be able to do something in the South because the South is not that strong, but you never know and whatnot. We'll talk about that a little later as well. Cincinnati Bengals in Tennessee, 20-16. Tennessee had them, but they let them off the hook. And again, After we was talking about everything with Tannehill. Tannehill did, had a relatively solid game, but he didn't throw a touchdown, didn't throw a pick. Almost the same type of stats that Joe Burrow had. Uh, Ironically enough, Cincinnati won the game. They won the game, but I'm just saying they ran the ball better than that of Derrick Henry, and that's what I'm saying. Again, another one of those quarterbacks. If their strength is the running game, but if we shut down Derrick Henry, we shut down that running game. What can you do? Well, 2016 ended up being the score. That's why I say Tennessee has that. I like the way that they are built. I just don't like they don't have a quarterback. He's solid. He's not that guy that's going to take you to the next level. Miami 30, Houston 15. Tagovailoa, he's doing his thing. He's doing his thing. People got to. They don't want to look at him. I'm just like 22 for 36, 299, one touchdown. Not a lot of stuff going on there with some big plays, things happening on defense and whatnot. They beat Houston. Houston is some garbage. Houston's some garbage. And right now, Miami is 8-3 and they're first in the AFC East. Gets no better than that. So, gets no better than that. Chicago and the Jets, 31-10. Figured this was going to happen here because Fields was not going to play. Chicago might be on the up and coming later on for next year. We'll see. Mike White came in for Zach Wilson after that blunder that he called himself making after the game. 22 for 28, 315 yards and 3 touchdowns. Are we looking at the next Josh Rosen? It's funny that how big of a bust Josh Rosen was, and I don't know if he's even on a squad right now. But you don't hear anything about this kid. And I remember when he came out here and Sam Donaldson and all them dudes came out. I want to say that was 2017, 2018, whenever that was. And like I said, he don't need to come out. Sam Donaldson and them guys stunk. I think Allen is the only one who's doing something between him and I guess Lamar. I go back to the draft. I can't remember all that off the top of my head. However, at the same time, it's like you haven't heard anything about Josh Rosen. And people better start telling us, one of the worst busts ever. And right now, Zach, dude, I didn't see so much knob slobbing, so much jock riding, so much dick riding, and the college commentators when that dude was playing at BYU. Like, he had a somewhat decent college career. Look how he's zipping the ball. He's doing it. Okay. I'll probably do a show on that and show the comparisons and whatnot. But it's funny to me that I haven't heard it. I say, you might be looking at Josh Rosen 3.0. In other words, play for a team 2 years or a year, 2 years. And next thing you know, they're getting rid of you. Because what Mike White did, and then he winked at the camera. Carolina, 23, Denver, 10. That's not surprising. Not surprising at all. Sam Darnold came in, saved the day. He ended up starting because Baker Mayfield's not getting it done. Shout out to Deontay Foreman, another 100-yard game. That's a good thing to see. Him and Chuba Hubbard, both Big 12 guys and whatnot. Yeah, man, they win, playing solid defense, shut stuff down with Denver. Everybody's sitting up there talking about the guy one of the defensive guys, Denver, getting up in a dude's face in the whole 9 yard. It doesn't matter. We can talk that crap all we want, and y'all can keep talking all that one. But yeah, man, Denver, man, Russell Wilson is this. Yeah. Denver sucked last year. They sucked the year before, and they sucked the year before that, and so they sucking this year. Period in the story. And he was not the magic fucking. He was not the goddamn star. He's not the star that stirs the drink. The team isn't desperate. I'll say this again. Haven't been to the playoffs since 2016. Next, the Chargers. Chargers beat Arizona. Yeah, this might be the swan song for my man. For my man here. This might be the swan call for Cliff Kingsbury, which ironically enough is my is my wallpaper. Baddest crib that you can have as a single man or a divorced man or a separated man or whatever you might want to call it. But like I say though, man, it gets no better than that. But this might be a swan song because the team that went basically with 11-6 or 11 or something like 11-6 last year. They do have talent, but it's like they have problems. They have problems. Somebody's not seeing eye to eye with certain things over that. Kyler Murray, 18 for 29, 191, 2 touchdowns. It's a lot of turmoil going on right there. Respect got to get done. Justin Herbert looked like Justin Herbert that everybody been going on raving about in this particular game here. He did his thing or whatever at the same time. Finally, because you really haven't heard anything about him and whatnot when it comes on the MVP race, like I said, ready to go jacket him down. And again, but the Cardinals defense lets them down all the time for the most part. I don't know how many more points you got to keep constantly having to score dealing with these jokers, but that's the name of the game. The Raiders 40-34. Hey man, hell of a performance by Josh Jacobs. 200 some odd yards rushing. He had some yards receiving. He went over 300 yards. Jacobs had, let me see how many touchdowns this joker had. He had 2 touchdowns, and he had, let me see. Yeah, two touchdowns. That walk-off 86-yarder, man. You can't get no better than that. But I still think it's a little too late for them. Again, these teams playing and whatnot, not a lot of defense. That's the one thing I'm seeing. And they might can maneuver, but we'll see what's up. Seattle still got the hanging up in there. As for Vegas, we'll see. They lose one more game, it's pretty much over. When you get 8 games lost, I think it's a wrap. I honestly think it's a wrap for them and whatnot. Atlanta and Washington. Atlanta had their chance. Everybody's talking about, man, the Skins, they doing this to Skins because Skins now is at 7-5. I'm like, okay, everybody was throwing I was like, long as they got that defensive line and someone can try to run the ball, they'll be just fine. See, the key to their success is not to be having this guy, Taylor Heineke, throwing the ball 35, 45 times a game. That's going to hurt you. You run Robinson and you run Gibson. That's the ticket. Robinson, you young back from out of Alabama, and you got Antonio Gibson. Run him. That defensive front, like I rave about all the time. Allen, Payne, Sweat. They got some good guys there, man, on that defense. I'm telling you, man, it's hard sledding with them guys trying to run that ball on them and whatnot. But Atlanta had that chance and threw it away. They could run the ball. Keep it out of this guy's hand here. Heineke, keep it out. I'm telling you. Y'all keep trying to run around talking about Brett Favre and this and that. And I say, okay. I say, he ain't that. He's not wrong. He's not that guy. He's not that guy. And I don't see them giving him no money. I still see them trying to go find a quarterback. Baltimore, Jacksonville, 28-27. Watch this game. Again, I still, watch this game. The game's supposed to be over with. Because you think, and that's what I'm saying about Lamar Jackson does what he does. Period. What you need him to do, he did it. Gus Edwards come back with some yards and stuff like that. Basically, the game should have been basically over with. And again, Baltimore's defense failed them. And if they're going to make a deep playoff run, they are going to have to get ahead of that. They're going to have to fix that because there's no way when you have that, you got John Pierre Paul, you got them, you got Queen, you got all those guys. There's no way that kid, as I found out, number 7 for them, Zay Jones, who was actually Robert Jones, the linebacker, got the 3 rings for Cowboys. 11 catches, 104. That's his son. 11 catches, 145 yards. He decimated them. Nobody could cover him. Nothing else to say about it. I say that's their Achilles heel, not their offense. Their Achilles heel is that damn defense and the inconsistency of it. And Baltimore prides himself as a franchise for defense. We go to the Rams. Rams and Kansas City, 26-10. Rams are done. This game should have been a blowout. Mahomes, a little erratic at times. Still was throwing the ball good, but was erratic at times and whatnot. But, you know, they'll clean all that up. There's not really much to say. They'll clean all that up. They're getting ready to go and they run it, but they're going to clean all of that up. The Rams are pretty much done. Rams are done. San Francisco and New Orleans, a defensive game. Jimmy G did just enough. But what we had? What was it? It was just one touchdown score, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, three. That's it. That was it. Defense. And San Francisco got that defense for your ass. They got it for you and whatnot. They got it for you. Kamara had 2 fumbles lost deep in the territory, man, and whatnot. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's about to be a rehaul over in New Orleans and whatnot. Not really no surprise there at all. No surprise. Just thought maybe San Francisco would score more points, but hey, Jimmy G still the place to be. Green Bay and Philly. It's a pretty good game going back and forth. Aaron Rodgers got hurt. Hey, man, Philly, that's how you're going to run the ball. That's how you run it. That's how you run the ball for almost damn near 400 yards. 2 touchdowns. Jalen Hurts threw for 153, 2 touchdowns. Again, you can run on Philly. But when it comes down to that passing situation, you better have your ducks in a row because that's their secondary and their pass rushes. That's their strength. But you can run on them and whatnot. And if Philly, you're going to have to know how to defend that RPO. If not, it can be a long day. It can be a long day. In the last game, Pitt and Indy. This, in my opinion, was 24-17. Could have went anyway. They should have actually probably won. Should have actually possibly won the doggone game. But they didn't. Yeah, man, that fumbling in the inside of the end zone just ain't gonna cut it, bro. You can't do that. You can't do that. You can't fumble the ball when you're on the 3 and 4 yard line. And I think we saw a complete aging Matt Ryan. Kenny Pickett looked good at some time. He's a young rookie. Benny Snare ran the ball really good. Looking at Najee Harris, he was banged up, hurt a little bit and whatnot. He needs to get himself together because they talk a lot of talk about this guy and whatnot. And all I'm seeing from him right now is injuries right now. He has all of this. He has better hands and he's this and that. He's a kind of a little smaller version of Henry and whatnot. He's got better hands and this and that. I ain't seeing it. All I'm seeing somebody's in the damn whirlpool and whatnot. So it's like, Indianapolis had their chance to get it. I don't think with Mike Tomlin, they ain't out of it yet. But they can't afford another loss. See if they can run the table and whatnot. But like I say though, man, these these games are something else. But I think we've actually started to see the last. This should be Matt Ryan's last year. Matt Ryan looked every bit of his age. He looked every bit of the aging quarterback. Yeah, he's done. No zip on the ball. He looks uncomfortable. He looks scared. He does not look like a starting veteran quarterback. He looks like an old man who just doesn't have it no more. And it's about time that they finally either let Sam I Am get up in there, Ellinger, or start drafting for a quarterback or something like that. Because he's not it. And they've been playing these musical chairs at this quarterback since old boy left, and they still crying about that. You know, about old Oliver and what they're still crying about that. But he's gone, man, and he ain't walking back through that door. So you need to find you somebody and get it going on and whatnot. But yeah, man. But like I said, man, that's my little wrap up for the week 12. I guess that's what's considered week 12. And I might come back, if not tonight, I'll come back tomorrow. But I definitely, y'all want to stay tuned. I'm going to break down this whole Josh Rosen and Zach Wilson and how this is basically the same quarterback and this is happening all over again and whatnot. And whatnot, because it needs to be talked about. I'm going to start calling all these bum quarterbacks that's still flaking around up in the league somewhere while certain quarterbacks are still sitting at the house that should be getting calls or something like that. But that's another story, but we'll talk about that probably tomorrow. Like I tell you guys all the time, there's no GOAT, there's no greatest of all time as long as time's still going on. And like I say all the time, numbers don't lie and get emotional. People do. You guys have a good one.